The Splatoon franchise has been praised for its addicting gameplay, eye-catching art, and creative world building, but one aspect of the series that I think deserves some extra love would be the music. Starting with the Japanese idol group the Squid Sisters in Splatoon 1 and continuing with the DJ duo Off the Hook in Splatoon 2, this trend of musical mascots has always added a lot of extra fun and enjoyment to the Splatoon games. Today, it's time to take a look at the discographies of both groups and determine which one wins the Battle of the Bands. Each song can score up to 5 points, and the scores will be added up for each group and averaged out to get their final score. I had to adjust the list a little bit so that both groups had a similar number of songs to compete with, but otherwise, I'll be ranking most of the songs of each band. Let's start things off with the Squid Sisters. I had actually never heard Low Tide before until I saw it on the Squid Sisters wiki page, and even then I'm not sure if it really counts as a Squid Sisters song, but we gotta fill up their list here, so we're just gonna drop it in. Overall, the composition is fine, and I think the melody of Low Tide actually fits this traditional Japanese sound really well. It's just a little bit boring and forgettable. I mean, I don't think the composers intended for Low Tide to be everyone's next favorite jam anyway, so maybe I'm judging it too harshly. Low Tide gets a 1 out of 5 for having a unique style, but otherwise being a pretty forgettable remix of a much better song. The Squid Sisters cover of Now or Never does a pretty good job of capturing their J-pop aesthetic with a techno-style remix of the original that sounds like something straight out of Dance Dance Revolution. For some reason though, the whole thing feels oddly constrained and quiet, and it fails to go as hard as the original version does. Still, even if the instrumentals feel a bit off, Callie and Mari are really giving their all with the vocals, and their harmonies throughout the song sound beautiful. Now or Never earns a 1 out of 5 for being a cute remix of the original, but not carrying much weight beyond that. City of Color was the first Squid Sisters song I heard, and little 7th grade me didn't realize it at the time, but I was going to be listening to much more of this kind of music in the future. Similar to it being the first Squid Sisters song I listened to, City of Color is a classic jam that hasn't really stood the test of time for me, but still has some Squid Sister hallmarks to it that make it a great listen. The adorable electronic instrumentals work well with the Squid Sisters' great harmonies to create a fun pop tune that adds some life to Inkopolis Square. Because of this, City of Color gets 2 points out of 5. Arguably one of the most revered Squid Sisters songs by fans, Calamari Incantation earns its reputation as an iconic song with an addicting EDM beat coupled with beautiful vocals from both of the Squid Sisters. It does a great job in-game of scoring the triumphant finale to the battle with Octavio and motivating the player to give one final push to take him down. Even if after the 5th time you've heard it, it starts to get a bit mind-numbing with its repetitiveness. Do it for your waifus! Still, for its energetic electronic sound, Calamari Incantation deserves its 3 out of 5. Honestly, Ink Me Up gets me a lot more hyped up than Calamari Incantation does. I think it might be the rapid pace of the song combined with some exciting drum work that really gets my heart pumping for the upcoming Splatfest battle. The vocals for Callie and Mari are also a lot more impressive in my opinion, with some challenging harmonies and high notes thrown in to spice up the track. And big props to the VAs for this song. Mari sounds like she's going off so hard in this song even though she's literally singing a bunch of gibberish. A classic Splatfest tune that does its job of getting the player excited for the battle, Ink Me Up earns a 3 out of 5. Tide Goes Out perfectly captures Mari's laid-back and reserved nature with a simultaneously calming and heartbreaking melody. The deep bass is addicting and really makes you feel like you're being carried away by the waves of the ocean, like the song's title suggests. And Mari's beautiful vocals serve as the siren calling you out to sea, and she starts the song low only to carry you to some amazing highs by the end. With a well-done lo-fi sound and hypnotic vocals, Tide Goes Out earns a 3 out of 5 overall. In complete contrast to Tide Goes Out, Bomb Rush Blush conveys every kawaii aspect of Callie's endlessly bubbly personality. I love the song's marching beat that conveys the excitement of rushing around the map during a turf war, only to reach the happy climax as you unleash your bomb rush on your foes and claim victory. It is kind of weird to frame a sort of love song around brutally slaughtering your enemies with a wave of explosives, but just listen to those instrumentals, they're so cute. Also, I should probably admit my bias here as a hopeless Callie fangirl, but I'm sure you guys probably took note of that already. Bomb Rush Blush may just be a cute pop tune, but its fun beat and adorable vocals earn it a solid 3 out of 5. Fresh Start was the perfect ending song to Splatoon 2's Inkling campaign. It captures the happy reunion of Callie and Mari so well. Callie and Mari's harmonization at the beginning of the song combined with upbeat instrumentals serves a fresh new sound that is wonderful to listen to. Then the song walks us down memory lane with callbacks to Tide Goes Out and Bomb Rush Blush. And the mellow sound of this section is one of the most calming things I've listened to. Fresh Start does a great job of rewarding the player for all of their hard work in the Inkling campaign and deserves a 4 out of 5. I'm a sucker for emotional songs, okay? Unlike Fresh Start, Maritime Memory has a much more melancholy take on the ending of the single-player campaign, and it's even more effective in the delivery of these feelings. The song expertly blends bits of Calamari Incantation and City of Color in a surprisingly laid-back remix. This soothing mood is only complemented by Callie and Mari's vocals, which are so chill yet heartfelt throughout the piece. While Splatoon 1's story didn't really try to emotionally invest the player, Maritime Memory alone provides a satisfying emotional payoff to the conclusion of the game and earns the first 5 out of 5. For this entry, I guess I am bending the rules a little and combining 3 songs into one, Bomb Rush Blush, Tidal Rush, and Spicy Calamari Incantation, but it's much easier to group the Splatoon 2 boss themes into one so that the 2 lists have an even number of songs. I've already talked about how great this composition is in my top 5 most epic video game songs video, so I'm not gonna go super in depth here. Basically, this whole thing is such a wild ride that is amazing every single time I listen to it. The suspenseful opening with a surprisingly scary remix of Bomb Rush Blush, the heartfelt interlude with Mari and Callie's battling duet in Tidal Rush, and the exciting conclusion with a fun disco remix of Calamari Incantation. I just love all of it so much. I'll just let you look at the notes I took. It's basically my stream of consciousness while listening to this song, and I think it captures my feelings better than big fancy words could. I know I said each song could only get 5 points, but the Splatoon 2 final boss theme is exceptional in every way, so it deserves the only 6 out of 5 on the ranking. And with that, let's see what Pearl and Marina have to offer with our Off the Hook song ranking. The title of Acid Hues is very fitting because this song sounds like an acid trip. I was expecting something really hype and exciting with this track. The whole thing just feels very confused. I guess that's the best way to put it. The vocals are constantly falling over each other with the excessive use of echoes, and the song's mood feels like it's teetering between lighthearted fun and suspenseful battle music. Looking back at this, I realized I got really angry at this song for some reason. I'm sorry, I just can't really get into Acid Hues. At least it's creative with some of its instrumentals. Acid Hues only gets a 1 out of 5, but first impressions aren't everything, so don't lose hope just yet for Off the Hook. I really love the opening of Shark Bites, and then the banjo comes in and the whole thing falls apart. Curse you, country music. Why do you ruin everything you touch? Still, despite its strange beginning, the build-up in this song seriously delivers with an amazing payoff that showcases Marina's awesome vocals. Unfortunately, since I pretty much skip the first half of the song every time I listen to it, Shark Bite's score has to be decreased to a 2 out of 5, but I really do enjoy that build-up and exciting payoff. Unlike the Squid sisters, Off the Hook got their own remixes for the Victory and Losing multiplayer themes during the Splatfest. For some reason, I really like the mellow vibe of Party's Over, and I think it's a much better sounding theme than the original Losing track. It fits well with Off the Hook's chill sound and provides a unique spin on the classic Lost theme. Like Low Tide from earlier, it's a good track, but there isn't that much else to it, so Party's Over gets a 2 out of 5. Fast Zest is just basically the normal victory theme with Pearl rapping over it. But who doesn't love some good Pearl rapping every once in a while? I also really enjoyed the touches of guitar throughout this song, and it's nice to hear some acoustic instruments amongst all the digital synths in the Splatoon soundtrack. This is actually a pretty fun tune for being just a victory theme, and I think Fast Zest deserves a good 2 out of 5. Now it's time for Off the Hook to give their take on the Now or Never theme, and I think it might be even better than the Squid Sisters edition of this song. First off, it deserves props for being the most creative remix of the song in my opinion, adding a lot of new instrumentals that give the classic song a fresh flavor. I enjoy the addition of the upbeat trumpets and funky melodies throughout this remix. Unfortunately, I don't think Pearl and Marina's vocals cut through as much as they should, and don't really add to the hype of the song. Still, Now or Never earns a 2 out of 5 for its creative take on the classic song. Color Pulse was our very first impression of Off the Hook, and I remember being a little underwhelmed at first. Looking back on this song though, it's actually a pretty solid track that has a similar vibe to City of Color. It's a catchy party tune that adds some extra life to Inkopolis Square. It also does a great job of showcasing Marina's expert vocals, even if Pearl's rapping isn't as exciting as it is in most other Off the Hook songs. Color Pulse gets a 2 out of 5 for being an overall fun tune that serves its purpose as Off the Hook's first release. Pearl and Marina really got to shine in the Octo expansion of Splatoon 2, and the campaign's ending theme of Into the Life also exemplifies their unique sound. Unlike Fresh Start or Merry Time Memory, the whole thing isn't extremely emotional and stays pretty mellow throughout. It's a nice change of pace and a relaxing conclusion to the excitement of the Octoling campaign. I also feel like this is one song where Marina and Pearl's vocals are on par with each other, and Pearl especially does a great job of both singing and rapping. Into the Light earns a 3 out of 5 for its wonderfully chill sound and impressive vocals. While I was a little bit abrasive towards Off the Hook when I first saw them when I was younger, Ebb and Flow is a song of theirs that I've loved since the beginning. Marina absolutely rocks the vocal line in this song and carries this track, although Pearl's rapping is still a nice accent to this fun tune. I love how the song transitions from a suspenseful mood at the beginning to a lighthearted conclusion by the end of the build-up. Expertly blending hype instrumentals with amazing vocals, Ebb and Flow earns its 4 out of 5. Octo Expansion was a deviation from the usual Splatoon format, with a darker setting and overall higher difficulty level, and Nasty Majesty does a perfect job of signifying this mood change. Right from the start, this song hits you hard with heavy synth and sharp brass stings, and the build-up of this song is one of the best I've heard of the Splatoon soundtrack. Marina's powerful vocals over Pearl's rapid rapping is a match made in heaven that never gets old. This song literally made me feel like the coolest kid on the bus when I was listening to it, and it also blew out my eardrums. Actually though, one time I was listening to this song and I accidentally turned the volume all the way up, and for the rest of the day my hearing kept periodically fading in and out. Despite the potential hearing damage, Nasty Majesty is definitely worth listening to and deserves a 5 out of 5. I actually really love Muck Warfare. It's one of the only Off the Hook or Splatoon songs in general that I've consistently come back to when studying or working on projects. I'm not sure what it is about this song that makes it so good. Both Pearl and Marina's vocals are at a really high level in this song, and I think this is one case where the kind of off-key, discordant sound works. It gives the whole thing a mischievous tone that makes for a really fun track. Muck Warfare ends up with a 5 out of 5, but it comes second to one Off the Hook song that blows all of the others out of the water. Fly Octo Fly is perfect in every way. There are a lot of songs on this list where I only really like to listen to the beginning, or the chorus is great but the rest of the song sucks. Every segment of Fly Octo Fly is amazing, from the exciting opening to the breakdown that goes way harder than it needs to the sudden remix with the inclusion of Ebb and Flow. I literally sing along to the wah-oh-ohs every time. It's like an instinct at this point. Fly Octo Fly does, arguably, an even better job at hyping up the player during the final battle than Calamari Incantation does. does, and it earns a perfect 5 out of 5. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's see which music group earned the higher overall score. Adding up Off the Hook scores and dividing by 11, we get an impressive average of 3 out of 5. Adding up the Squid Sisters scores and dividing by 10, we get 3.1 out of 5. The Squid Sisters earned the higher average score, somewhat as I expected, but I didn't expect them to only barely claim victory. I was honestly pretty surprised with how much I enjoyed Off the Hook's music, even though I've only played the first Splatoon. I guess it just goes to show that you should always give things a fair chance, and you'll never know what you end up liking. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this ranking. I'll see you all next time. Bye!